I have, Bill wasn't able to be here this evening. This is isn't his high school picture, but it was one taken soon after he was out of high school.
That's your brother.
This is Willard Schrader, Jr. Most of you know him as Bill. This is his son, Stephen. His high school picture. Of course, these are not real recent pictures, but they give you an idea of who we are. And this is Linda. Linda's living in Florida. And this is one of their grandsons. Linda has 2 sons, and Steve has 1. This is Sam Schrader. This is our oldest sister's daughter. She's now a physician's assistant. She did teach for about, what, 24 years?
24 years.
And decided to go into another profession. And you want to show your family?
Okay.
We have all but one of them.
We got all but one of them. This is my oldest daughter, Rosalind. My second daughter, Nancy. Can you see him?
Mm-hmm.
And my son, John. These are the Webb children.
And Jim.
And Jim's not here. These are the 2 Gold children. This is Loretta, and this is a picture of Dean.
And his wife.
And his wife. That's Vic and my children. And this is the picture of my second daughter's family. This little girl is our mother's namesake. And this little one, Virginia, is Virginia's namesake. So, what else do you want today?
Well, you want to talk about school days when you were kids, or did you have to?
How about we rode on? We had our own horse and buggy that drove to school. Well, I was in the 4th grade before we had a school hack, which was a milk wagon turned into a school hack.
Was that here?
Yeah, rode right down this road.
Who drove it?
Charlie Zook.
Charlie Zook. Okay. And go ahead.
Well, I rode on the school hack behind horses until I graduated in 1927.
You graduated in 1927. Okay, and you graduated from the schoolhouse in Monrovia.
Yes.
The one. Okay.
The old
Okay.
the one that they just tore down and replaced.
When did they start paving the roads? Do you know? 39 and 42.
It was lighter.
Yeah, it was
Around
late.
1940. It was in the lighter 30s sometime.
Yeah.
I remember
Before
having
that.
a flat tire up on 42 when they'd put the first tar on it.
Oh, really?
And the tar was gooey.
Uh-huh.
And that was in the latter 30s sometime.
Okay.
Sometime between 35 and 40. I don't remember the exact year.
And before that, it was gravel.
Gravel. Mhm.
Gravel. Okay.
Our, when in the middle 19, I expect about 1913, 14, 15, they made the county roads, a lot of them. And on the farm, we lived about a half a mile down the road, and on our farm were gravel bars. And several of the young men worked out those gravel bars, probably your father.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Doc McCracken working there, Branch McCracken.
Doc McCracken, Branch McCracken. Okay. Okay.
And they would scoop gravel out of the creek with large sand scoops pulled by a horse, and they built the roads, actually. There was a I don't know whether we have a picture of road building in the history book or not, but a lot of the men in the community worked at building roads along about 1913, 14, 15, in that era.
That was, my dad was in high school at that time.
I imagine he helped.
Yeah, he probably did. But he was a surveyor and built roads all over the state of Indiana in the 20s.
Our father was a gymnast, and he turned at the German house in Indianapolis. And he helped to coach the first basketball team that you had here. Ben Kane, I think, was the coach. And he helped him. And I think your father was on that basketball team, too.
Coach Herb Curtis.
A
They
Cecil
really
Hunt
speak
was,
highly of Herb Curtis.
wait a minute.
You remember him?
She had him for a teacher.
I had him
as
for
well
a teacher.
Okay, you ready?
Is it going? Okay.
Are you doing it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is a picture of the 1922 Girls Championship team. And this was the 21 team. These girls are Catherine Schrader. She was a forward and was the captain of the team. Iris McCracken, Pauline Hadley, Catherine Whiteman, Pauline Horton. Pauline Horton also was Dr. Horton's daughter, and she also taught at Monrovia. This is June Strain, who was a manager, Edith McCracken, Helen White, Dorothy Curtis, and their coach Winston Ashley. This is Herb Curtis in 1921, who was their coach. I have, I'll show you this picture too. This was a picture of the 1926 Monrovia team, tri-state champions. On the first row was Elvin Shake, Jewel Lambert, Bill McCracken, Raymond Blunk, who was the assistant coach, Cecil Hunt, Howard Tudor, Elmer Shields, known as Doc Shields around Monrovia, and Herb Curtis, who was the coach. He was also the principal here. This is Roy Annadale, Emil Dorset, Branch McCracken, Bob McLeod, and Tyler Curtis. They won the trophy that had to be won 2 years in succession. They won the tri-state in 1925 and 1926.
What were the three states? Indiana and
Indiana,
Kentucky?
Kentucky, and
Illinois?
Ohio, I think.
Ohio.
It was
I think.
Ohio.
Yes, I think it was
Okay.
Ohio.
And Branch McCracken won the individual medal for the most valuable man to his team both years, 1925 and 1926. You want to talk about 4-H? You know more about 4-H and its beginning than I do.
Well, I was in 4-H, started in
22.
1922, I guess it was. And I think I was the only girl in the 4-H at that time. And when I was 14, I won a trip to the International Livestock Show at Chicago. Was the only girl from, I think, about this part of the country at that time. Went through everything up there, and I had a grand time for a week. And then I was in the club till I was 18. And
But
won
you
quite
had a
few.
misunderstanding about what it was supposed to be about and you didn't want to go. What was that?
My mother in my underslip sewed a pocket and put my name and address and my father's name and telephone number and my money. And I upset me very much because I said, well, I wasn't going to leave or get carried away. I was coming back.
You thought you were just going to...
Yeah.
They were identifying the body, huh?
Yes. We took the train from Indianapolis to Chicago and then came back.
How long did it take to go from Indianapolis to Chicago?
I think it took in the neighborhood of about 3.5, 4 hours on the train.
That's not bad. That's what it takes now.
It was about the same then.
I think we went on the Monon,
On the Mona. Okay.
Chicago. And from there on, then I got married and had 4 children, and 2 more, which made 6. And I've had quite a family and
How many
got quite a
grandchildren?
few family. I got 22 grandchildren.
22. And you've done a lot of teaching.
Done a lot of teaching, taught for 18 years, and plus a lot of substituting along in there. And was a farmer's wife, helped show sheep, you know. And my grandchildren are really up and coming in the 4-H world too. Let's see.
Tell them about Virginia.
Oh, Virginia, one of my granddaughters, which is Virginia's namesake, is Virginia Teeters, and she won her Supreme Showmanship at the Johnson County Fair.
Oh,
Tell
that's
'em what she
wonderful.
She showed 5 different animals, which is the first time they'd done it down there. She showed a beef steer, a dairy heifer, a goat, a sheep, and a pig, in order to
wow.
win it. And there were 5 others besides her in the group, which they were all supreme showmen.
That's great.
It is good. So, that's the story of my life. Here I sit, 3/4 of a century old.
That's something to
Still
brag
going.
about.
That's right.
Still going. So, any more?
Well, let's see. Got any funny stories you remember?
We don't dare tell them.
I'll pick one.
I'll tell you one that made me very upset. They were writing a school annual in 23. I think I was a freshman. And, of course, they had to get all the little tidbits of everybody in there to talk about. And they picked on me and put my picture in the annual. And it said under it, this little girl was asked, what was it, what the cat want to know? And it made me so mad that I was ready to tear it all apart.
She didn't like to be called a little girl.
Oh.
She'd never been any bigger than a bar of soap, but she never liked to be called little.
She said they didn't let her play basketball because she's too little. Well, so she got to be the cheerleader and everything.
Yeah.
Song leader.
Song leader.
Song leader. I was song leader for 4 years.
Now, Iris told us about the greased pole and the flag. Were you guys in on that kind of
No.
thing? When the freshmen and the juniors tried to beat the sophomores
That
and the
was
seniors?
before she got in high school.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I
Iris said they stopped doing that because it was too
too rough.
dangerous.
It was too
Mhm.
dangerous, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But they did back then play tennis. They had a tennis court out on the west side of the school.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
We had one in the chicken yard.
They had a tennis court there, and the girls played tennis.
Uh-huh.
So, and I'd play baseball with the boys.
You
They
play
would.
baseball with the boys? The boys let you play baseball.
Yeah, they'd let me play baseball
Good.
with them, but the girls wouldn't let me play basketball with them.
Well, the school was so small, if you didn't have both boys and girls, you never had a team of baseball. And that was true when I was
Yes.
in high school, too.
How many in your graduating class?
14.
14.
Mhm.
How many in yours?
15.
15.
See, we began to get smaller and smaller as we went along.
Do for fun. And Elizabeth is answering the question of what mumbly peg is.
Mumbly peg, you take a penknife, pocket knife,
Uh-huh.
and open up the big blade out straight,
Mhm.
and the other blade down,
Uh-huh.
and you throw it.
Oh.
And if it stands on the point, it counted so many points, and if it set on the blade, on the 2 blades, it counted. If it fell over, then you were out. That was mumbly peg.
That was mumbly peg. Okay, what else did you do for fun?
We swam. We had a creek and later on had a small lake, and we swam in the summer and ice skated in the winter time. We had a lot of pitch-in dinners and picnics, and almost all of the church organizations and school classes would have winter roasts at our house. We had a lot of winter roasts, didn't we?
Yes.
And when I was in high school, there was with the churches, we each had our classes, and then there was a united youth group that would go around to different churches and to the different, we'd have pitch-in picnics and winter roasts, and we'd play dumb games and sing.
Mostly sing.
I rode a horseback all over this country.
We had a riding
I had a
horse.
riding horse, and that was my way of going. Bicycles, no.
One through her in a
Horses,
bar.
Horses, yes.
Horses, yes. Ride anything from billy goat to workhorse.
But you guys are too young to have ridden your horse to school. You went on the school
We
hack.
did
No.
sometime.
Oh, you did
We drove our own buggy, and horse and buggy.
Oh.
There
And kept the horse in the livery stable there at Jim Alexander. And the barn that's still
in
there.
Monrovia.
There in Monrovia.
Which one is that?
It's
It's where Mary Lou Smith's barn is.
Okay.
It's been
That's
changed
right.
a little bit.
that was right across from the school.
Right by the superintendent, between Mary Lou Smith's house and the superintendent's office
Okay.
of school.
We drove our own buggy up until, well, it was about 1917, 18, when the United States went into World War I.
Mm-hmm.
And then's when Charlie Zook bought the bread wagon and picked up the kids along the road here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was Mr. Tudor, wasn't it? But I finally got a hack out on the west side. Under old man.
Ira Henshaw just mentioned who did that, and he said it took him longer because the road was muddy
Oh yeah.
out west of town.
You had
It
no
was
snow
harder.
days.
No
You
snow
went-
days.
No
You
snow
went-
days. No rainy days.
No
you
acts
went.
of God or anything.
No, you went to school. Rain or shine, sleet or
Yeah,
snow,
yeah,
you went.
Yeah. But you didn't go past Labor Day. Didn't go till what? What
It was an
was
8-month school.
8-month school.
Same as they
September
go
to
now.
Mm-hmm.
Same as they go now. You went 8 months, but you went 8 months to
No,
school.
they go 9 months now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they
you
do.
get off over a month's vacation.
Oh, no, you go more days now
Yeah.
than we went then.
But I think we learn more.
How do we measure that? That's hard to know.
That's difficult to measure.
That's difficult to measure.
It depended on the family too. We had a couple of feet planted in the right place to see that we learned. And we had a lot of books, and our family read every evening. We had a reading hour, a study hour. And our parents saw to it that we got our work done and done right. And you learned to do it right the first time, or you did it over till you got it right.
Yeah. Yeah. Times have changed.
Okay. This desk my father had made for me when he had the sawmill. It's 50 years old. He bought some cherry and colobra. Colobra is Mexican walnut. And this was my choice for a desk, and he had this made for me when I was 17. And this chair is a chair from the Old Hickory Furniture Company, which he bought each of us, kids, one. My younger brother a bicycle for Christmas 50 years ago. He sold his lumber when he had his sawmill to the Old Hickory Furniture Company, his grade A lumbers, out of which they made furniture. If there was ever anything I didn't want when I was 17, I'd rather have the bicycle, and they could have given me the chair to my younger brother. That's it.
I got one just like that, only mine's made out of
Cherry.
African mahogany.
Oh, it is. You had a cherry bedroom suit that he made.
Mahogany. It's mahogany.
I hope it's not like this.
She's taking a picture of it if it has.
Well, it is teachers within my job.
That's nice.
I think it shows it. I think that's so cool.
It is. It really is. It's very nice. Okay, we're here at Bertha Hubbard's house. She lives on the west end of Main Street in Monrovia and has for a long time. And Bertha was the wife of James Hubbard,
Yes.
right? And Bertha just celebrated a birthday not very long ago. And how old were you, Bertha?
Just Friday?
Just
I was
Friday?
94.
94 years old. And you had a big party.
Quite a party. Just coming and going.
Were your girls here?
What?
Were your
Oh,
girls
yes,
here?
they were here.
Uh-huh. And your girls are Emily,
And Betty.
and Betty. Uh-huh. Where does Betty live now?
She lives in Bedford.
In Bedford.
She's lived there ever since she, well, not ever since either. She was married when she lived in Anderson,
Uh-huh.
but she's lived there now a long time.
Uh-huh. And Emily, where does Emily live?
She lives in the north part of the state, Elwood.
Oh, okay, okay. But your son still lives here
Yes,
Jim.
down on the farm.
on the farm, right? And Jim owns and operates the mill.
Yes, that's
And,
right.
And your husband did too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And when did how far back does that go?
Well, the father, James' father, owned the mill. He first started. He was a doctor, and he gave up his practice when he bought the mill and came to Monroeville.
Uh-huh. What year was that?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I've forgotten. I'd have to.
But in the 1800s, someplace. Probably.
Well, I think so.
Uh-huh. And that was your husband's father. Okay.
Yes, yes.
How long have you lived in Monrovia?
I never think of those things.
No. Okay, but you've lived here a long time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We came here in 1913
Uh-huh.
to Monroeville.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't married till I guess it was married in 1915. Yes. And I was teaching
You
at
taught.
the time.
Uh-huh. What did you teach?
I taught music and art.
Uh-huh. Did you teach in Monrovia?
No, I taught in the smaller schools. I guess you would say they're smaller. I taught at Eminence and Hall and Crown Center.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I know a lot of people. I did for so long.
Uh-huh.
Kept in touch with a lot of my students.
Uh-huh.
But the last few years I haven't been out in circulation very much.
Uh-huh.
I've just sort of stayed at home in my place
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because I wasn't able to do everything.
Uh-huh.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed teaching, and I had nice people to teach.
Uh-huh. Do you remember a lot about Monrovia in 1913 and so on? Have you seen a lot of changes?
Well, I just know one thing. They didn't believe in dancing here in Monroeville.
Uh-huh.
And I had come from Gosport, where we had such good times with our little school parties,
Uh-huh.
Dancing.
Uh-huh.
And it seemed pretty hard at first to me.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have as good a time as I'd been used to.
Uh-huh. I imagine that's true.
But you know, this was a Quaker
Uh-huh. Community.
town. Yes,
Uh-huh.
it was.
Uh-huh. Mostly.
They were used to it, but I wasn't.
Uh-huh. Was your family, Jim wasn't Quaker?
Yes,
He was a Quaker?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
And we went to the Friends Church.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was a Methodist,
Uh-huh.
but finally I quit the Quaker Church and went to the Methodist.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. As I always remember you.
Both good churches.
Right, right, right. Okay. Do you remember anything in particular that you'd like to talk about? What kind of?
Oh, I wouldn't know. What would it be? Oh, I still taught music,
Uh-huh.
private piano and violin
Uh-huh.
when we came here.
Uh-huh. And of course, Betty played the violin. I remember how well
Yes,
she
and
played the
now
violin.
she has arthritis in her hands until she gave up her violin.
Oh, that's too
She
bad.
can't play it.
Uh-huh.
You have to have good hands,
Uh-huh. Oh,
good
yeah.
use of them.
Uh-huh. She just played
But-
so well.
Oh, well, she did, and I enjoyed being her accompanist, too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh, we had so many good times. Going places, you know, and playing together.
Uh-huh.
People seemed to like it so much.
Uh-huh.
It was nice for us.
Are you taking?
Yeah, I turned it back on.
Okay.
I like the people here.
You like Monrovia?
Yes, I do.
Well, I think
Why
Monrovia
wouldn't
likes
I?
you too.
Why, it's home,
Yes.
and I don't want to leave. And my girls both think I could come and live with them.
Yes, well,
But it's my home, and that's where I belong.
yes, yes.
Oh, I may go and live with them some, but
Uh-huh.
I still want to come back.
Right, right, right. That's the best way for it to be, for as long as it can be.
People are so good to me. Honestly, you'd be surprised. I want you to come in and look at my cards.
Okay.
And
Your
the
birthday card.
things they have brought. Well, I've had so much given to me.
That's nice.
Yes, a lot more than I've ever had before, I think.
Really?
Maybe a pace to be 94.
Maybe so.
Well, there should be some reward for it.
That's right. That's right. You only have 6 more years till you'll be 100.
People do live to be 100,
Of course,
don't
they live longer than 100
Oh,
even.
I couldn't. And I don't know that I want to.
Well, that's up to you.
It's, when you get so you are in a lot of trouble. Yes. You don't know girls till if you get that way. Then you feel different.
Uh-huh. I remember when your mother lived with you, Effie. Effie?
No,
No.
Gertrude.
Gertrude.
Gertie, they called her.
Gertie. Yeah, I remember when she lived. How old was she when she died?
She was 95.
95. Wow.
95. I've got one more year to go if I live as long as she did. And listened. We both worked.
Uh-huh.
And worked pretty hard, I'll tell you, all our lives.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, she
So
went.
work doesn't kill anyone if they
Right,
use any judgment about it.
right, right.
I wasn't rugged or anything at all like that.
Uh-huh.
But you just live anyway, I think, if you're supposed to.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, do you have any other thoughts you wanna give us this afternoon?
Well, let me see. I can't think fast enough, but I've had, and still have, I think, a good number of friends right here in Monrovia. And I've been here long enough they ought to know me.
Uh-huh. Yes.
It's been a pleasant time to live here and know the people that I know. And as new people come in, they become my friends too. I want you to see my cards.
Okay.
And, well, it just surprised me. Of course, I always get a good many, but I have over 30.